Very good afternoon, and we can go straight away to our presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Halal Awareness Program as per Islamic perspective. The part 2 of this program will be talking about the key requirement of halal, that is the do's and don'ts in preparing halal food.
The objective of this program, why we are doing this halal training. At the end of the session, we hope all participants understand the total halal application towards the achievement of your business objective, to provide in-flight catering, in-flight meals, to provide ready-to-eat meal, frozen meal, whatever, not only to airlines but to your customer involved in this, to the public through hypermarket, supermarket, convenience store, or even service provider, restaurants and so on. So by having this training, again I said, the participant, you as a participant, will be able to understand, provided that if you don't understand, ask questions. Okay, that's the most important thing. And then throughout this program, you will be able to know the benefit of this halal food practice or guideline, and also know the difference between halal and non-halal. Okay, and of course, for those, I think 50% of the participants have attended my training many times. Consider as a refresher course for you, and also to remind the basic needs and requirement in order to maintain the high standard of service delivery. So at the end, you will be able to do it right first time and every time. That's the bottom line. Okay, so this is the latest standard. We are using this. Of course, it's been using worldwide. Regarding this halal Malaysian standard, the latest third revision, talking about the latest development on halal food practice, to provide a practical guidance to the industry player. This standard that I'm going to talk with you and share the information actually provide practical guidance and guidelines for the food industry on the preparation and handling of course, halal food, including nutrients, supplement, and so on. And it serves as basic requirement for halal food product and food trade. So now, talking about halal, the definition for those who are first time to join this training, definition of this guidelines, we talk about Sharia law. We use all these words in this training: Sharia law, halal, haram, and so on. I will explain to you. It is Sharia law means Islamic law. When we talk about food, it is related to Islamic dietary law. Talking about food, so it is a divine command from the Almighty. All right. And when you talk about halal in general means things or action permitted under the Islamic law, Sharia law. Okay. And when you talk about halal food, it means that the food and drink, of course, and its ingredient, which are considered permissible. When you said about definition of halal food, it means food and beverage, food and drinks, and its ingredient permitted under the Sharia law, Islamic law. Now, there are certain rules when you say it is halal, the food or ingredients or beverage which are permitted under the Sharia law, provided that the food, the halal food, must fulfill the following condition. I will show you one by one, step by step. Okay, now, number one, this is very important part. As far as the food are considered halal, we need to make sure that it does not contain any parts or product of animal that are non-halal by the Sharia law, or any parts of product of animal which are not slaughtered according to the Sharia law. This is very important. Point number one, A. It's considered very, very important. When the food are considered as halal, make sure it does not contain any parts or product which what call it contaminate with non-halal. Okay, and of course it does not contain najis. It's an Arabic word. According to the Sharia, I mean something which are unacceptable, something which is considered not allowed to be contained or contaminated with halal food. These are some examples I've given you in these pictures, like blood, alcoholic beverage, pork, and so on, or animals which are not slaughtered according to the halal, also consider najis. When you talk about halal food, when you talk about food, not only halal, can be kosher, can be vegetarian, can be ordinary food, must be safe for consumption, non-poisonous, okay, and of course non-intoxicating for halal and non-hazardous. And then when the food are considered halal, it is not prepared, processed, and manufactured using equipment contaminated with najis, things which are not permissible or allowed or unacceptable under Islamic dietary law. Okay, of course, does not contain any human parts and its derivative. Human can be from blood or any part of human parts. And we in food industry, we are practicing this personal hygiene, good hygiene practice. This is one of the requirement, especially during this pandemic. Not only food industry, everybody have to wear the mask, need to sanitize all the time, wash the hand, and they have to practice the good hygiene. Now, under halal, yeah, this will helps. For example, the hair, this cannot doesn't fall on the food when you are preparing and so on. This is to protect, and that's why we need to wear these protective gears when handling the food and so on, to avoid any foreign object. And again, the rules here, when you consider the food halal, make sure during preparation, processing, handling, packing, cooking, whatever, storage, distribution, the food physically separated from non-halal. Okay, even though you have halal kitchen, halal section, this is very, very important to make sure the food you are preparing, process or handling, or during packaging or even distribution, make sure that it does not it is physically separated, segregate, and not contaminate with any non-halal food. Okay, in food industry, not only you have halal, you have vegetarian, you have special meals, you have allergen. You have to follow all the standard, the SOPs, to make sure no cross contamination. If it is vegetarian, suitable for vegetarian, certified vegetarian, you cannot process or handle it where the possibility of mistake and cross contamination can happen. To avoid all that, this is the SOPs, the rules about dedicated food meant for certain groups of people who request it, which we consider as a special meal. All right, rules about when the food considered halal, it does not contain any animals which are not slaughtered according to the Sharia law, or dead animal, for example. Even though chicken, beef, goat, or duck considered halal animal, but if not slaughtered according to the Sharia law, it is considered not halal. Especially if dead animal, of course, maybe because of to avoid any disease and so on, for food safety. And khamar is the Arabic word, means intoxicant. Any alcoholic beverage are not halal, or even mix or contaminate with alcoholic beverage or intoxicant are not allowed. Okay, you can see here, khamar. It means that such as alcoholic beverage and intoxicant. Najis, of course, there are three parts of najis. I will explain. Earlier I have shown you, I give you very simple, straightforward. the very important part is you need to understand this category of items considered najis cannot be contaminated with halal, such as warm meat, pus, blood, alcoholic beverage, and so on. This is considered najis, cannot be contaminated. I just want to share with you a very simple rules or guidelines, the Islamic guideline about slaughtering. As you know, in order the meat can be chicken, beef, lamb, mutton, or need to be halal, we need to make sure it is been slaughtered accordingly as per the Sharia or Islamic law. So this picture show you, for example, chicken. If you want the chicken to be halal and halal certified, there are 5 important things, steps that need to be done. Okay, first, make sure the slaughterman must be a Muslim slaughterman. Number 2, the animal, the ruminant animal need to be halal animal. Chicken, duck, can be goat, cow, buffalo, and so on. Must be halal animal. Number 2. Number 3, the knife must be sharp. To do the slaughtering, make sure the knife must be sharp knife. Okay, number 3. Number 4, you need to make sure the animal alive and healthy, or deemed to be alive, not dead or sick animal. And number 5, you need to make sure the trachea, the esophagus, trachea, carotid arteries, and jugular veins, to hasten the bleeding and death of the animal. You need to cut all this from the throat. The esophagus, trachea, jugular vein, carotid artery need to be cut as shown in the pictures. Okay, as you can see in the picture, this is a chicken, and this is for buffalo or cow. The same thing. A Muslim slaughterman, halal animal, and then knife must be sharp. The animal, of course, once it's gone through all the process, proper halal slaughtering, the organization, the slaughterhouse can be certified as a halal slaughtering plant, and the animal are considered halal certified, and they will get the halal slaughtering certificate. Okay, premises as usual. Any buildings can be a permanent or temporary structure, or otherwise, together with the land on which the building or the structure is situated, need to have the proper in connection with the preparation, slaughtering, processing, handling, packaging, storage, distribution of sale of the food, any food. Okay, they need to have a license, permit, and so on. Illegal premises, illegal units or kitchen or what cannot be certified. They need to have a proper organization, structure, everything. Okay, talking about the premises, make sure the premises, the food industry or factories or caterers shall be effectively separated and well insulated from farms. Can be pig farm, chicken farm, and so on. Why? Because in processing activities, to prevent cross-contamination through personnel and equipment. Normally, chicken farm also same. They contain a lot of flies because of the smell and so on, the blood. They attract flies. That's why I need to have a proper segregation. Under international law, it's normally like in Malaysia, the organization or the premises handling with food, factories, and so on need to be at least 10 kilometers from the farm, animal farms, pig farm, chicken farm, and so on. Only they will get the license. They cannot build next door. And just with the chicken farm. They cannot build near the chicken farm, pig farm, and so on. The food industry. Regarding this standard, MS 1500 2019, among others, required the management responsibility. So need to appoint a committee. Normally we always like Sky Kitchen or Masis, they have a teams under the QA department which monitor halal. Why? Because need to ensure effectiveness in implementation of internal monitoring. They need to have a team. Some organization, of course, like in Japan, we train them. It is advantage and preferred to have a person who knows about halal, especially Muslim halal chef or executive or halal inspector. Training is a must. The staff, the team must attend this halal training to understand the halal guidelines and so on. Okay, these are some of the pictures I share. We have done all worldwide, from Europe, US, Canada, Asia, Australia, and so on. India, China. As you can see in the pictures, those who attended, they are the halal committee, the management team, and the halal committee from QA department. They attended the training. We give them, this acknowledgement through this certificate of attendance. And of course, the management shall ensure that sufficient resource like manpowers, infrastructures, all the things that are required to run the food business, especially on halal, are provided in order to implement the halal control system. Okay, I just want to share you this halal process flow. Okay, talking about this halal production procedure. This is a normal. From you need to have your layout of premises. The process flow, cold kitchen, hot kitchen, storage, distribution, receiving area, and so on. And of course, end up with the delivery section, inbound, outbound. So this you need to have proper, flow plan, the process flow, because we want to make sure this hygiene and safety practice, including protection against pest infestation, between the operation or during the operations. This is the operation center. We call it OCC, Operation Command Center, and then follow through all the sections, areas where they have their specific jobs. Okay, the meat preparation, vegetable, fruits, like for example, hot kitchen, cold kitchen, bakery section, pastry bakery section, and then hot meal, presetting area or hot meal, dishing up areas. Okay, for business class, economy, or or for industrial catering, assembly area, holding rooms, meal check. Of course, for airline, once you have done all that, you need to load onto the truck, high loaders, and then once all completed, the aircraft arrive, it will be delivered, and then the crew will do the checking on board. Aircraft took off, 45 minutes or 1 hour later, the meal will be served. Once that, not the end of the story. The aircraft will return to base. You have to strip the aircraft, offload all the dirty equipment and so on. Need to be washed, soil airline equipment. Okay, you need to clean it. All this process, you have to do that in order to maintain the standard, the quality, the safety of the product. Okay, now here I would like to share you. Actually, you have around 16 process in order for the customer to get the best meal. Okay, now you can see here it all started from, of course, administration, including marketing, customer service, under procurement, supply department, who purchase, procurement who will do the purchasing orders of the raw materials, and then the supplier department who engage with the supplier, and receiving the QC in charge to check the product, the quality, and then it will be sent to the storage area, cold kitchen, under cold storage, freezer, chiller, or dry store, and so on. This is the part one process. And then it will go through, once ready, it will go through preparation area for butchery, for cooking, and then blast chill, keep in the food bank, and then do the dishing, food dishing, setting area, final holding rooms. It will be sent to dispatch to the high lift or high loaders for loading to the aircraft, on the aircraft. So they have to follow all the critical control point from CCP1 go up to CCP10. This is to control, to make sure the food are safe for consumption by the customer, your valued customer. So need to maintain the chill temperature of cooking 74 or 75 degrees above. Chiller, you see, between 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. This freezer minus 18 to 21, and so on. So actually the 16 processes I mentioned before, you uplift the meal on board the flight, or deliver the meal to your customer. It requires 16 process, yes, but it's only take one process. I repeat, it only takes one process for the passenger to get the best for their meal. What is that? Your right action are most important. You need to do it right first time and every time. Here, under the rules 3.2.3, under this standard, the premises shall be designed to facilitate cleaning and proper supervision for hygiene. Look here, this is very important, because halal is not halal if it's not hygienic. Even the premises, the working place, even the staff, personal hygiene need to consider all that. It's very important. Okay, and of course, adequate sanitary facilities shall be provided and maintained. And just to share with you, during this pandemic, you can see now. Before, you don't see. You go to supermarket, convenience store, even restaurants, they provide you sanitary facilities, hand sanitizer, temperature. They take temperature to make sure you are healthy before you enter the premises. You see now. So, but for the food industry, it's very important. Sanitary facilities or sanitizing station. To make sure that staff follows all the good hygiene practice. Wash their hand before start of their duties, upon checking, upon registered, or their attendance. They have to go through this sanitizing station, wear protective gears. Talking about sanitizer, 2 days ago I conduct the same training for the airline catering company in Mauritius. Just to share with you all, I see a lot of areas they upgrade into what do you call it, sanitary facilities, sanitizing station. They added 6 more sanitary facilities like hand washing, sanitizers, and so on. This is good because of pandemic. They want to make sure the staff really, no way they can say they don't do sanitary or sanitizing program to make sure they are clean. Okay, now, so it need to be provided, shall be provided. So the question they raise about the sanitizer, which they said contain alcohol, 75% isophenol alcohol, and so on. Is it halal? Is it allowed? I will explain later. I have that. I prepared that for you all. Okay, from the question they raised, I did preparation to explain. Is it allowed? Is it permissible? Can you do it? And so on. Because the content of alcohol in the hand sanitizers, for example. Okay. So loading unloading bay shall be appropriately designed to allow effective move for this what do you call it, perishable product. Perishable, non-perishable is okay, but perishable is very important. You need to maintain the temperatures, either chill product or frozen. Okay, premises shall be kept in good repair. Premises shall be kept in good repair. Yeah, why? Because to prevent any pest access and to eliminate any potential breeding site. Okay, this is very important. Maintenance department, take note. Okay, slaughtering I'll skip because it's not related to your business. So same thing, slaughtering, the processing premises shall be also dedicated for halal, have to follow the SOPs in halal processing. They have to. Okay, I just skip that. This also not only at the slaughterhouse or plant, even the kitchen, the cattle, the industry, the food industry. Make sure no pets, cat or dogs or whatever, and other animals shall be refrained from entering the premises. This is under the rules, under the standard, not allowed. Okay, talking about device, utensils, and machine and processing aid. All right, under this guideline, it mentioned that devices, for example, devices, utensil, machine, equipment, processing aid, and so on, for processing halal food shall be designed and constructed to facilitate cleaning, and shall not be made of or contain any material that are decreed as najis, according to the Sharia law, and shall be used for halal only. Shall be used only for halal food. Once you have your halal section, maintain that. Cannot be what do you call it? The process shall be supervised, of course, by the halal committee or the QA in charge to see the halal process production line is in line with the requirement and or the guideline, and shall be washed and ritually cleansed as required under the Sharia law. Like a butchery section, the knife for for halal, chopping board, knife, equipment, whatever. For halal, you need to use for halal only. Don't mix up. Don't use for halal and then you can use for non-halal. No, it's need to separate. And this is another very important topic about hygiene, sanitation, and of course food safety. Remember, this is prerequisite. Hygiene, sanitation, and food safety are prerequisite in the preparation of halal food. Is a must. It includes the various aspects of personal hygiene, including your clothing, your protective gears, devices, utensil, machine, and processing aids, and the premises for processing or manufacturing and storage of halal food. So it's very, very important. Talking about this part 3.4.2, halal food manufacturers shall implement measures to inspect and sort raw material, ingredient, packaging material before processing. Okay, and also manage waste effectively, store harmful chemical or substance appropriately and away from halal food. This is normal practice, which whether you have halal kitchen or not, harmful chemical material substances need to be physically separate from the food section. Okay, what do you call it, waste management, you need to do it effectively. Prevent food contamination. Prevent contamination of food by foreign matters such as plastic, glass, and so on, and from machinery, dust, harmful gas and fumes, and unwanted chemical, including you need to take care of our personal hygiene. You need to wear your hairnet, mask, and so on. We do not want the hair to fall on the food. Okay. Of course, prevent excessive use of permitted food additive. Even though additives are permitted, but you need to follow the parameters, the guidelines. You know, you need to draw a line. There are certain percentage permissible level. You have to follow that strictly because to prevent excessive use of this permitted food additive. Okay, in manufacturing and processing, suitable detection or screening device should be used wherever necessary, like X-ray and so on. Some they look physically on the food. Is there any foreign object or hair, strand of hair, and so on. Halal food shall be processed, packed, and distributed under hygiene condition, and the premises are licensed in accordance with food hygiene practice, the GHP, the GMP, good manufacturing practice, and so on, as specified by the local government or under the international law. Now, as you know, food divide into three categories. Let me explain before I go on. There are three categories. They divide into three. It can be breakfast, lunch, dinner or supper. The three items you need in the food, such as from animals, from plants, and of course we have to drink. We need to drink beverage. All right. Now, first I'd like to talk about animals. As you know, animals can be divided into two categories. Okay, two categories, and as you can see here, number one is land animals. Okay, land animals, and then number two is aquatic animals. Okay, here, land animal, the rules very simple for you to understand about halal, or you want to prepare halal food. Land animals can be even cow, camel, goat, chicken, duck, and so on. The animal itself, the meat must be halal certified. The meat need to have the halal certification. I mean the slaughtering certificate. This animal need to go through this halal slaughtering process. Then only can consider halal. If not slaughtered according to the Islamic slaughtering guidelines, the animal still considered not halal. Okay, this is land animal. The aquatic animal, I will explain next. Regarding the aquatic animal, as long as the animal, such as fish, they live in water and cannot survive outside, and they are not poisonous, intoxicating, and hazardous to health. No need to go through slaughtering process. They die natural death. You even can catch whoever, whether Muslim, non-Muslim, male or female, can do the processing, can do the cutting for this aquatic animal. No such rule, no certificate for that. We don't need that. But land animal, yes, is a must. You need to have halal certificate. Okay. And of course, the animal considered not halal are animals that are not slaughtered according to the Sharia law, Islamic law. Here is, you can see the pictures. You can see they use a rifle to kill the animal, or even they do the stunning. This is bolt stunning. They shot on this animal head, forehead. Electrical stunning not allowed. This is not slaughtering. They are killing the animal. They poke the hole on the neck to collect the blood. Okay, this is not halal slaughtering. Slaughtering, they need to cut the throat, trachea, esophagus, and the halal is like this. The halal slaughterman, and the animal are halal animal, and he do the cutting accordingly. Non-halal animals such as pigs and dogs are not halal. Animals with long pointed teeth like tigers, lions, bears, and so on. These are not halal. In general, nobody eat all this. Okay, they are all protected animals under the law. You cannot kill, so slaughterers simply kill the animal for no reason. This vulture, predators, bird such as eagles, owls, and so on are not halal. Pests or poisonous animal, of course, they are not halal and not safe. Okay, such as cockroach, rats, centipedes, and so on, scorpion, snake. Animals that are forbidden to be killed in Islam, in Islamic law, such as beasts. Bees are not halal to eat, but honey are halal. Okay, honey is good for mankind. Of course, flies, creature considered repulsive, like dirty, filthy creature, such as flies. These are not halal. Farm animals which are intentionally on and continually fed with najis, something which are considered not halal, not permissible. You feed them, it is considered not halal. They feed beer, alcoholic beverage, beer to the cow, Kobe beef, Wagyu beef. Every day they feed with beer, alcohol. So the animal considered not halal. Okay. Aquatic animal like fish, they have a fish farm. They intentionally, continually fed with pork fats, to give protein to the fish. Considered not halal. Every day can be non-halal. Originally, the fish are halal, but if you farm animals such as farm fish, they feed with non-halal pork fats and so on every day, so the fish become not halal. Of course, donkey not halal. Nobody eat donkeys. Nobody sell donkey meat. Right. Okay, now talking about aquatic animal. Remember, aquatic animal are those which live in water. Okay, in water and cannot survive outside, such as fish, of course. And all aquatic animals are halal except those that are poisonous, intoxicating, or hazardous to health. Animals that live both on land and water, such as crocodile, turtles, frog, and so on, are not halal. Okay? These are not halal. They live both on land and in water. This is the guideline, the standard, under the halal standard. We Muslim cannot eat crocodile, frog. Okay, in Philippines, listen. In Philippines, you have this coconut crab. I know. I went to in Manila. There's a seafood market. They sell a lot of coconut crab. They live both. Actually, coconut crab for Muslim is not halal because we consider they live both on land and in water. Other crabs such as blue simmer crab, what do you call it, mud crab, and so on, they are halal. Flower crab, they all halal. Okay, because they live in water and cannot survive outside. If they can walk around on the beach, it will take them maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. They will go back into the water. They cannot stay there forever. Now we talk about plants. Same. Just now we talk about aquatic animals. As long as they live in water, they are halal, provided that the animals, the aquatic animals, are not poisonous, intoxicating, or hazardous to health. When we talk about plants, plant, same thing. All types of plant and plant product and derivative are halal. All kinds of plant, fruits, vegetables, even mushroom, plant product are considered halal, except if poisonous, intoxicating, or hazardous to health. Then only not halal. All type of mushroom also, or microorganism like bacteria, algae, or fungi, are considered halal, except if poisonous mushroom. Of course, not only not halal, it's not safe, or poisonous or intoxicating, considered not halal. Natural minerals and chemicals, and natural mineral salt, mineral water, and so on. All natural minerals are considered halal, as long as those that are not poisonous, intoxicating, or hazardous to health. Okay, next, talking about the ingredient, there are now, we call it a GMO food, or GMF, genetically modified food. Okay, now let's see. Before we go there, again, as I mentioned earlier, I recap. All kinds of water and beverage are halal as drink, except those that are poisonous, intoxicating, or hazardous to health. Of course, alcoholic beverage are prohibited. Okay, not suitable. Of course, under international law, you cannot drink and drive. They are prohibited. Cannot drink and drive. Even cannot drink and drive, and also cannot drink in your office. This is international law. in the office also, because it's not allowed. Even no smoking inside the office. No smoking, no drinking of alcoholic beverage. This is the law. Now, talking about GMO food or GMF food. Remember, food and drinks containing product or byproduct of genetically modified organism, GMO, or ingredients made by the use of genetic material of animals that are non-halal by the Sharia law, Islamic law, then they are not halal. For example, the genetic material from, let's say, porcine, pork, you transfer into the chicken. This is genetically engineered chicken. Actually, there are genetically engineered animals. But if you take this, use this genetic material from non-halal, such as pork, porcine, or pig, so it considered are not halal. As I mentioned here, the genetic material from the pig use, now you have a what do you call it? Cloning, do the cloning of animals, and so on, are not halal. And under this international law, under the FAO, Food Agricultural under organization, see, food and drinks containing product or byproduct or GMO, they need to declare, among others, the ingredient. Oh, this is under consumer rights. The consumer have every right to know, because some people doesn't want GMO food, so you have to declare in the ingredient list. Okay, slaughtering I'll skip because not related to your business. Okay. Okay, now talking about storage, transportation, display, sale, and serving of halal food. This is very important, related to your business. Okay, now all halal food that are stored, even prepared, stored, transported, displayed, sold, and served shall be categorized and labeled as halal, and segregated at every stage so as to prevent them from being mixed, cross convention, or contaminated with things that are non-halal. This is very important. Have to make sure during whatever process, from receiving, from preparing, processing, cooking, transport, stored, whatever, even distribution, need to avoid any cross contamination, possibility of cross contamination. Try to avoid that. Need to be physically separate. Okay, transport vehicle, transportation. The vehicles such as bonded truck or refrigerated truck shall be dedicated and appropriate to the type of the food, halal food, and safety, including hygiene and sanitation condition. When talking about packaging, labeling, and advertising, halal food shall be suitably packed, with suitable packaging material, shall be halal in nature, and shall fulfill the following requirement. Of course, the packaging material shall not be made of any raw material which are declared as najis, from non-halal material. It is not prepared, processed, and manufactured using equipment that are contaminated with najis and non-halal. And also during processing, preparation, storage, transportation, it shall be physically separated from any other food that does not meet the requirement of halal. So the packaging material does not have any toxic effect on halal food, for the food safety. And of course, the packaging material, packaging's design, sign, symbol, logo, names, and pictures shall not be misleading. Okay, I'll show you these pictures. Okay, packaging material or labeling, sign, symbol, logo, name, and picture shall not be misleading and contravening the principle of Sharia law. As we know, pork are not halal. You cannot have a halal pork, even though the pork meat is not real meat. It is a fake pork, mock pork. It's vegetarian pork. It's from tofu, soya, and so on. But you cannot still call it halal certified pork, because in China, in Taiwan, they do have a menu. They call it vegetarian pork. It is not no meat, no animal origin there. It's all vegetable. It all from plant origin, but they call it vegetarian pork, or we call it fake pork, mock pork, for vegetarian. They have that. Okay, but you cannot do the certification or certify as halal pork. It's not allowed. Same halal beer. Beer are not halal. Whiskey are not halal intoxicant. But you cannot call it halal whiskey or beer. Uh, you can call it non-alcoholic beverage, non-alcoholic beer, but cannot call it halal beer. Confused. You might create confusion. Here we mentioned that halal food, halal artificial flavor, like I mentioned earlier, as a artificial flavor, meat flavor, chicken flavor, artificial. It's not real. It's vegetarian. Cannot, shall not be named or synonymously named after non-halal products such as ham, bacon, pork, or beer, wine, rum, and so on. Why? Because that might create confusion. For primary meat product, the label and mark shall also include the following: the date of slaughter, the reference number, date of processing, and so on. This is very important when you want to do checking, inspect or audit on halal meat. Make sure the meat must have certificate. Chicken must have halal certificate, halal slaughter certificate. Here you can see here example. This is chicken from Brazil. It's an imported product. From Brazil. So the certificate also from Brazil. The numbers are mentioned here on the labeling. Tally what you can find here in the certificate. One more point I just want to highlight. Talking about certificate, I just want to share some general information, especially from the purchasing department or supply department or QA or QC. Normally for the animal exported meat, frozen meat, can be beef, chicken, and so on, the certificate validity in general normally 24 months, 2 years. Okay, sometimes you see on the certificate they mention date of slaughtering, no expiry date. They only put here date of slaughtering, full stop. Date of processing is when they do deboning, cut in portion, and so on from the factory. That's also no expiry date. Normally from this date you plus 24 months, then you can know the the expiry date. Let's say 2nd February 2020, date of slaughtering 2nd February 2020. Expiry date will be 2nd February 2022. Okay, this is the norms, the normal. You can, in general, you can find that. If no expiry date, some certificate they mention expiry date. Most of them are valid for 1 year. Not meat product, but it's other product, processed food, and so on. Like chicken nugget, valid for 1 year. The validity only 1 year. Chicken sausage, it's a processed meat. Okay, but if the frozen meat, the raw material is frozen meat, you need to cook, process, then only you can consume. They give 24 months. But now even in UAE, in Middle East, they now introduce 36 months, 3 years validity for export, as a request by the customer. In UAE, I noticed that they introduced 3 years validity, but of course yearly audit they conduct. Okay, this one all compliant for product deemed to comply with the standard, it shall comply. When you are certified halal, you need to comply with all the halal guidelines. This will be verified through site inspection by the competent authority, by the certifier, as and when required. Okay, I'll go to the next slide about the halal key requirement.